Hi everybody, welcome back. Today we're doing Locke's Lost Chapters, Treasure Hunting Part 14, the Chaos Stage. Main enemy here, of course, is the Necro Raven. You can see it absorbs a lot of elements here. Just don't use those and you're fine. The main gimmick for his reincarnation, you have to kill this boss twice. So it has double the HP. Mid-boss is a Skull Wizard. Cannot cheese this one with blind and attack down like you can in many other cases, so I'm bringing Setzer. He's boosted and he freezes him. It's Locke's event, so of course I'm going to use him. And I'm bringing Cat Lady here because she's good. I'm using Leviathan because this mini dragon I can use to sort of cheat and instantly trigger Leviathan's blessing for the whole fight. And that regen really does add up. So that's what I'll be using here. I'll be bringing an Agrius Friend, and that's just sort of to help burn the boss down near the end. So wave 1, you're basically just getting your buffs up. I have to use a red card with Setzer here. The reason is pretty simple. I don't actually have an attack buffer. The only party buff I have at all is, I'm going to use Pulse of Life here. It's going to give everyone max Brave up. So I don't have an attack buffer in this party. That actually works out well for Locke as well, because he already gives himself 4 buffs. So it's 5 with that, and then it'll be 6 with Leviathan's Blessing. So you can't really use Leviathan with him if you have another buff. So like if I use Sarah instead, I wouldn't be able to use this. I'd have to use a different summon. Okay, so the mini dragon here on top, targeting all, I want him to get his attack off. So I don't want to break him. I want him to break one of my people as well, just to get as much damage as possible. And if I can kill one of these other enemies, which I can here with Locke, that means he'll get even more of the break bonus. The goal is I want his attack to knock everybody below that 80% health threshold so that we get Leviathan's Blessing. So here's Frostbite. It's going to break Setzer. And you can see now everyone has regen from Leviathan, which is pretty sweet. So now I have that the whole fight. Like I said, it's not a big amount, but I'm using 2 boosted characters, so their int brave's already quite high. And it really does add up over the course of the fight if you can trigger it that early on. Okay, so these guys will try to do their Candle in the Wind attack. Once they drop under a health threshold here, the goal is to try to bring them down pretty evenly, so that I can just use a single freeze Joker and block the attack from both of them. Okay, so I have a Miracle Shoes here. He'll probably have some Brave generated by Y'shtola here. So that will let me drop a Miracle Shoes attack right before I use Mirage Dive. I like to use my Miracle Shoes up if I've already got a lot of Brave that I can dump. So for example, right before my EX, or if I'm about to use Sneak Slash or Mug, because that'll pull another item and they'd be wasted. So those are the 2 times. Otherwise, I'll just hold on to them because the buff does help. It gives you a little regen. It makes you take less Brave damage. I think it gives you a little speed. You don't want to just throw it away just because you have it. You want to use it at a useful time. So you can see with them both frozen here, I'm not going to use his EX. I'll use it next turn when people can actually benefit from it, giving them Brave. With them both frozen, there's absolutely no danger here. They can both perform their attack and it will hit for 0 damage. You see Master Scroll here, the HP plus you get from his EX is actually very strong. So, okay, well that one missed, so that's sort of irrelevant. But if the other one hits, you'll see it can only hit for 0 damage. And there we go. There's a lot of ways you can deal with that. You can inflict them with poison and sap, and that'll drop their Brave to 0. You'll still take a hit because they battery after those effects hit, but it won't be lethal, so you can heal it. You can also Normally you can try to blind them and dodge, or you can lower their attack, and that also lowers how much brave they gain from using it because it scales off of their attack. But of course, these are immune to both blind and attack down. So you really are forced to either poison them or use Setzer. Or I suppose you could just summon and blow them up. They don't have that much HP. Now, unlike some stages where this fourth wave has some annoying gimmick that like cripples you for the beginning of the boss fight, um, this one doesn't do anything. I think the worst they can do is poison you, and that's not even a big deal. Alright, so I'm gonna pop this just because it doesn't eat up a turn. And then we'll blow this guy up with some HP attacks. Okay, so the beginning part of this fight isn't especially dangerous. It has some single target brave attacks and some not especially dangerous group HP attacks. Especially when I've got two characters that can delay. This is going to be a cakewalk through the first half of this fight. The latter half can get a little more dangerous because it can actually regenerate a really significant amount of brave. But for the most part, try not to go too heavy handed. Like, if you've already used a lot of abilities at this point in the fight, lean heavily on your HP pluses and things. Uh, use your abilities in the second half when it's actually worth using. So you can see I held out using a sneak plus there. I do have a miracle shoes this time, but he doesn't have a lot of brave to dump with it, so I'm just going right into his EX. I can use them next time he's got a good opportunity to attack with some brave on him already. Okay, just HP attack, gives everybody some brave. Setzer here is interesting because he actually refunds brave, so he actually, despite only having an EX, actually puts out some pretty steady damage with either his brave plus or HP plus. Um, I know I used him in the Dimensions End Entropy stage 1 successfully, so he's good even when he's not boosted. Okay. So this might be an okay time to use Miracle Shoes, but I think I want to get his buff up first, and I can still overflow on any of his abilities, so... Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. I have enough Brave that it's worth dropping a Miracle Shoes and then going into his EX. So this is one of its HP attacks. You can see it doesn't hit that hard unless it just already got a lot of Brave right before that. I'm using a Pulse of Life and it's going to top everyone off, but even without her, Locke would easily outheal the damage of this fight with Phoenix Ray. Okay. Okay, so HP plus. Might Medica, I think I'll just HP plus. If it was targeting her, I probably would have used Medica, but well, I mean she has an extra turn anyway, so I guess it's irrelevant. But okay, I think I'll just Brave Attack. I know it's going to trigger a launch, and so a Freeze Joker might be a good decision, but I don't know if I'm going to need it later or not, so I don't want to just waste it. So Sneak Slash Plus steals him a turn, also gets him a stolen item, and I pulled another Miracle Shoe, so that's awesome. Okay. Could HP plus or use a stone here. That's pretty much interchangeable. It's targeting Setzer though, so this is going to easily top his Brave off. So there's Miracle Shoes into his EX, and this might take it down the first time, but of course you have to kill it twice. Now, other Phoenixes, when they use Reincarnation, this is actually a dangerous time to be at 0 Brave, because that does a Brave attack and breaks you, and then it follows up with an HP attack. This one doesn't. It's actually much less dangerous than a regular Phoenix. So I didn't use Pulse of Life there, because everybody's already got a ton of Brave, basically. Keep his buffs up. Alright, pop it this time, because everyone can use the Brave. Sets me up for a good stone. Now, it's using an all attack, which is almost certainly an HP attack, so I can drop a Freeze Joker here. I'm probably still going to stone it again here, give Locke a turn. And actually, to lose it past Setzer, I think I'm going to swap Setzer out. So, it's good I just froze it, because now that freeze will stay in effect. So we can bring in Agrius here. I'm going to always open with a Hallowed Bolt, but I think I'm going to summon because it's going to leak Brave like crazy. Hallowed Bolt is, you can use it 2 times. If you open with it and then use 3 abilities, you can get a second use of it for damage. Her damage isn't as good because I'm against a single target here. I'm going to use Medica to give her max Brave up. I'm basically just going to spam Judgment Blades on her and then use another Hallowed Bolts. The silence should actually stop the Phoenix's attack too, which is nice. If I get a lucky Paralyze, great. It's irrelevant right now, but because it's already silenced and frozen, but it doesn't hurt to get a Paralyze. Okay, I should probably use a Phoenix Racial Overflow, give a little more Brave to everybody. Helps because her Judgment Blade's not hitting especially hard to already have her close to cap. Pulse of Life will give her some Brave as well. And HP attack. Right, so probably just Master Scroll here. I'm checking to make sure, see, as I might use a Sneak Plus instead, take a turn here. I wanted to make sure I wasn't gonna like overwrite like a Miracle Shoes or something that I have because it's hidden under Master Scroll. You see, my EX was ready. I use Master Scroll anyway. I think it's really wasteful to not use it every time it's up. Okay, throw one more Judgment Blade. Yeah, I was thinking I could use a Knight's Pride or something because everyone's low on Brave, but I don't think it'll matter. So there's 0 damage, of course. And it's targeting all still. It's still frozen, but I can break it and delay it in one go, so why not? Here's my next Hallowed Bolt. So if it's trying to do a Brave attack here, it should fail. I think all of its Brave attacks are magic. For that same reason, worth noting, Celis is boosted on this event. She's a very solid counter to this boss as well. Doesn't do anything about all the area HP damage, but Locke is great for that. So you see it just regen to 0. That would have been like a 40,000 Brave regen just now. It can get really, really dangerous if you can't finish it off here at the end. It gets a ton of Brave. You see, its int Brave alone is already close to 7,000. So Setzer is going to freeze it just to make sure I don't have to deal with it regenning here. I might just kill it here, and I did. If it had gotten another turn, it could have regenerated another 40,000 Brave, so I just wanted to make sure it was frozen. That's the only part of the fight that's dangerous, and freeze counters it very hard. I believe an int Brave down debuff would counter it really well too, so you might consider like Lena or somebody. Alright, well there you can see that's everything, so thanks for watching, and good luck on your own run.